Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And let the record reflect that Mr. Van Orton has agreed to work with us to get the chip cards in place, and so we're going to do that. I think that's common sense. It's something that's costing real money. You know, it's really costing real money and having negative effects. I represent 2nd Congressional District in Alabama. It's one of the poorest congressional districts in this country. About a 1 in 4 rate of SNAP participation in my district, and as several of my colleagues have pointed out, that under the reconciliation bill, they have said that the people that need the aid the most will still get it. But I want to be clear with what we have in our possession in terms of knowledge right now about what happens if a state cannot meet the cost-sharing participation, that those people can no longer get it. And so this conversation has shifted totally away from limiting eligibility to certain people to eliminating the program for everyone. That's my understanding of it. And Ms. Green, I know you've answered this question already, but is that your understanding of what happens here if a state cannot meet the benefit cost sharing?
Yes, as currently written, if a state cannot meet the benefit cost sharing and the admin cost sharing, that they would not be able to operate a SNAP program.
Ms. Bivens, is that your understanding? And Ms. Schmidt, is that your understanding? I know we heard some, or we saw Ranking Member Hayes enter something into the record, a statement on behalf of, I believe, the same organization, the same agency that you work with, but is that your understanding?
Yes, sir, that's our understanding.
So to be clear, to be crystal clear, what this bill did was create the potential for SNAP programs to no longer exist in any shape, form, or fashion in terms of providing SNAP benefits in states that could not afford to or chose not to, for whatever reason, meet the cost sharing. Is that a fair assessment of that, Ms. Green?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Bivens?
Yes, it is.
Ms. Schmidt?
Yes, sir.
I almost just want to sit in silence to let that sink in. The United States of America just signed into law a bill that will allow states, essentially, to determine whether or not they will provide food assistance to anyone, to federally funded food assistance to anyone. That would include children. Is that correct, Ms. Bivens?
Absolutely.
That would include disabled individuals. Is that correct, Ms. Green?
Yes, if they no longer operated a program.
That would include homeless veterans. Is that the case, Ms. Schmidt? Or would there be some exemption for them?
That's our understanding, yes.
That's a sad day. That's a sad day when we sit here and look at that. And in my district, you know, in my state, $172 million would be Alabama's cost sharing requirement, given our most recent error rate of 8.5%, which is something that we need to reassess how that's calculated, because that is not a fair assessment of actual errors. But this bill made no changes that I'm aware of. Please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong in terms of how error rates are calculated. Is that correct, Ms. Green?
Yes.
Ms. Bivens? Is that your understanding as well, Ms. Schmidt?
Yes, sir.
So I had some questions that my staff prepared for me, and I thank you, Kyla, for doing that. But as I sat through this hearing and the realities of, you know, some of the commentary that's being made and some of the statements and positions that people have been taking, I felt the need to highlight the realities, the stark realities of what this bill potentially means in states that, you know, that do not meet the cost sharing. I think we all share the general objective and the hope and the moral value, I would like to think, that we should be feeding hungry families, hungry people, and also creating pathways for them to come off food assistance. I'm not one that believes poor people want to be poor. But I felt the need to highlight that. So I thank you guys for your response, and I yield the balance of my time to the ranking member.